The UK has some weird laws that are still technically written in the books, but aren't actually enforced. Or at least, I hope not. My name is Peter, and I lived in Scotland for 4 years now. Today, I'm going to talk about 10 outdated or absurd or weird laws that still exist in all or part of the United Kingdom. If you know of any other insane or weird laws that are still on the books, let me know in the comments. I live on the coast, and from time to time, whales and other sea creatures will wash up on the shore. Under the law in the United Kingdom, whales and sturgeon are considered royal fish, and if they wash up on the beach, they technically must be offered up to the reigning monarch. The royal prerogative is a bunch of executive powers held by the British monarch, and it allows them to perform certain executive functions without the explicit approval of Parliament. There are many powers in the prerogative that are considered archaic, and I'm not a legal expert by any means, but I did find a 2009 report from Parliament that said it is unclear whether or not these specific powers still exist. And when it comes to the law, of course, you want to err on the side of caution. And since it says it's unclear it exists, then for me, I would say they still have that power. Section 32 of the Salmon Act of 1986 specifically outlaws handling salmon in suspicious circumstances. The context of this law is to stop people from selling fish on the black market. But still, if you're gonna be part of a conspiracy to handle salmon suspiciously on purpose, then make sure you don't get caught. You could be reeled in for questioning, end up floundering in a courtroom, and probably end up sinking your own case in a sea of contradictions and shellfish excuses. It's a good thing that firearms are almost impossible to get here in the UK because the Metropolitan Police Act of 1839 specifically states that you're not allowed to fire your cannon within 300 yards of a private dwelling, or you could be fined up to £200. I guess I'll have to fire up some other plans for the weekend. This is one of the oldest laws still in effect. MPs have been forbidden to wear armour in Parliament since 1313. Known as the Statute Forbidding Bearing of Armour, this law was established during the reign of Edward II. Nobody has been prosecuted in recent times, but the Crown Prosecuting Service did say that anyone wearing armour in Parliament would be reported to the police. It sounds like it could be a nightmare situation. You can be fined up to £1,000 for hanging your washing across the street in the UK. According to the Town Police Clauses Act of 1847, a £1,000 fine awaits anyone who hangs up their clothes on a line across the street. I guess you'll have to hang up your hopes of dry clothes elsewhere. The Metropolitan Police Act of 1839 strikes again. You can shake your doormat out on your front porch or over your front porch, but only if it's before 8 a.m. If you are currently doing it after 8 a.m., it might be time to shake up your morning routine. Section 12 of the Licensing Act of 1872 specifically outlaws any person found drunk in any public place, whether in a building or not, or on a licensed premises. If you can't hold your liquor, you could be fined a whopping £200, which means that it's technically illegal to be drunk at a pub. You might end up coming across as a bit of an outsider, but it's probably a good idea to be very careful when you're at the pub so you don't end up having to whine about your legal problems. It is illegal to drive any cattle through the streets between the specific hours of 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. unless you have specific permission from the police commissioner. According to the Metropolitan Streets Act of 1867, this law specifically states any person driving or conducting cattle in contravention of this section shall be liable to a penalty not exceeding 10 shillings for each head of cattle so driven or conducted. I don't know what 10 shillings translates to nowadays, but if you have to move your cattle, make sure you steer clear of the streets during these hours. Do you like watching TV? Well, watching live TV could technically land you in jail over here. And they do enforce this one. Usually I think it's a fine, but technically you could go to jail. If you ever watch live TV content in the UK, you are required by law to pay for a TV license. Among other things, this funds the BBC, and it is actually a criminal offense to watch live TV without paying for a TV license. It is fairly easy to basically register that you don't need to pay for a TV license, but you have to do it every couple years. And if you don't, the TV license commission will hound you. They will send you threatening letters, and they actually could show up at your house to check and see if you're watching TV. This is one of those laws that they are trying to repeal, and I think they are planning to get rid of it at some point in the future. But as of now, you could technically get a fine at least, or go to jail for watching live TV. When you were a kid, did you ever just knock on someone's door for no reason and then run away? The Metropolitan Police Act of 1839 specifically states that it is illegal for any person to disturb an inhabitant by willfully ringing any doorbell or knocking at any door without lawful excuse. It might be a good idea to knock off that childhood prank and try to ring in a new hobby. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video through my series of amazing puns, and I will not accept any answer other than that. If you want me to do a follow-up video talking about across the pond and explore some bizarre and weird laws that still exist in the United States, let me know in the comments. That's it for today. I will see you next time.